In December 2016, the 21st Century Cures Act was passed, and electronic visit verification mandated certain information for providers to be considered compliant. These are service type, the individual receiving the service date, the location of the service, the employee providing the service date, and the start and end times and location of the service being provided. While the original implementation deadlines were for personal care services to be implemented by 2019 and home health care services by 2023, 49 states, as well as the District of Columbia and Guam, were granted good faith effort exemptions. These can delay federal funding reductions for an additional year. So what is EVV exactly, and why is it so important? Electronic visit verification is electronically tracking exact information such as date, start and end times, service types, and locations of every visit. The goal of EVV is to reduce fraud and abuse by complying with federal and state requirements to improve quality, increase accuracy, promote financial accountability, reduce risk for abuse and neglect, identify and prevent bad actors, and promote opportunities for individuals to live in the community. So let's take a closer look at the EVV models. EVV model terminology typically either refers to 3 buckets of categories, open, closed, or hybrid, or the 5 state design model options. In this section, we'll explain both and how they relate. The 5 design models fall into 3 categories: closed, open, and hybrid. In closed models, the Medicaid program at the state level will select an EVV system for their entire state to use. These systems can be third parties or designed and maintained in full by the state. Open models allow for providers and MCOs to choose their own EVV vendors based on state requirements, but states do not certify any vendor in particular. Hybrid models are a mix of the open and closed models. Providers and MCOs may choose their own EVV vendor, or they can utilize the state's EVV solution at no cost. Each state has been given the ability to choose their own EVV model to implement. The federal requirements have identified 5 acceptable EVV design models: state choice, provider choice, MCO or managed care organization choice, open vendor, or a state-developed in-house system. Not all states have decided on their design models at this time. Thus far, the open vendor model option is what the majority of states have decided on. MediSked is actively paying close attention to the EVV landscape and state-level decisions as they deploy their model selections. Let's take a closer look at each of these options. The first EVV model is state choice. The state contracts with one EVV vendor to provide a single system available to all providers. This option includes eligibility for the federal match. So how will the state model work with MediSked? MediSked will work with the state and provider agencies to develop any integration or other required functionality to optimize the workflows. Alabama, Connecticut, Maryland, Oregon, South Dakota, and Tennessee have chosen the state choice model. The second EVV model is provider choice. The state defines EVV requirements and policies while giving providers the option to choose an EVV vendor at their own cost. MediSked Connect is already a provider choice option. Provider agencies can use Connect to obtain the required EVV data by using our full site, mobile light site, and/or telephony. Our solutions design and delivery team can provide training and configuration assistance to implement these solutions, and our integrations, analytics, and consulting practice team can create the feed to transfer the EVV data to the state-selected aggregator. Alaska, New York, and Virginia have selected this model as their EVV solution. The third EVV model is the MCO choice. The state allows MCOs to choose their EVV vendor for use among providers in their network. This model can be fully, partially, or unfunded. If your managed care organization selects Connect as their EVV vendor, provider agencies can use Connect to obtain the required EVV data by using our full site, mobile light site, and/or telephony. Our solutions design and delivery team can provide training and configuration assistance to implement these solutions, and our integrations, analytics, and consulting practice team can create the feed to transfer the EVV data to your MCO. Florida and New Mexico have given their MCOs the choice to select its own EVV vendor for agencies to use. The fourth EVV model is open vendor. This blends elements of the models to give providers and MCOs alternative options. The state chooses an EVV vendor, and providers may use the solution without cost or continue using their own chosen EVV vendor. Provider agencies can choose MediSked Connect as their EVV vendor to obtain the required data. If the provider selects the state's chosen EVV vendor, MediSked will work with the state and provider agencies to develop any integration or other required functionality to optimize workflows. Many states have opted for the open vendor choice model, some of which include Arkansas, Colorado, Georgia, Maine, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Texas, and Washington. The final EVV model is a state-developed in-house system. The state develops, manages, and runs their own EVV system. This option includes eligibility for the federal match. Provider agencies will enter their EVV data into the state-mandated system, and MediSked will work with the state and provider agencies to develop any integration or other required functionality to optimize workflows. Currently, no states have decided to create and maintain an in-house EVV system. All right, now we'd like to take a look at the EVV compliance options. MediSked Connect has multiple solutions to provide the EVV data your agency needs. First is our mobile light site. This can be accessed on cellular devices, tablets, or right on your desktop computers. Our mobile site can capture exact check-in and check-out times as well as GPS coordinates, and can allow for users to check into pre-scheduled service blocks or create them on the fly, depending on each agency's needs. Our mobile site also allows users to capture service note documentation without using the full site or a desktop computer. Our alternative solution is telephony, which is great for areas where internet and cellular data may not be available. Users can call to check in and out of pre-scheduled shifts or create a service block on the fly. Our telephony solution requires a recognized phone number that is affiliated with the individual being served. Both solutions assist in the preventing of fraud and abuse and comply with EVV requirements by ensuring the employee is with the individual at the beginning and end of the shift, allowing supervisors to see their GPS coordinates in relation to the service provided and seeing that the check-in was done on the individual's personal phone. In addition to working with your state, MCO, or provider aggregators and solutions, MediSked Connect already offers several options to assist in EVV data and compliance. Connect has guardrails in place to prevent fraud and abuse. Our system can capture the exact time and location of the employee checking in and out, and alerts can be configured if this is done outside of what the agency deems an acceptable distance. Our telephony solution will prevent a service block, check-in, or creation if the call is done with a phone number not recognized as being affiliated with the individual. Connect also has several reports available to cross-reference check-ins against a scheduled service block, as well as service note auditing and our note exception dashboard, which will display discrepancies from what occurred to what was scheduled to occur.